Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, February 25th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to share with you a video that was brought to my attention, maybe about an hour ago. And just let me give you a little front story to all of this. I think it was back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. A gentleman, I use that term kind of loosely, a gentleman by the name of Sam Hoffman wanted to get in touch with me, and he actually wanted to talk to me. So, long story short, this guy supposedly has been investigating, Nibiru, the whole mythological story of Nibiru, and also planets in the clouds. And to be honest with all of you, like I always am, I've never seen any planets in our clouds. And frankly, folks, that would actually be impossible. Well, not quite impossible, but if there were planets in our clouds, planets actually in our atmosphere, I wouldn't be making this video, and we would all be dead. That much is an absolute fact. Anyways, I'm just setting up the live chat here so I could see everybody. But anyways, somebody brought to my attention this guy over in the UK. He goes by the YouTube channel, the Planet X Hunter, I guess. And people have asked me to check out his videos, and I do check out people's videos from time to time, but over the years I've learned to distinguish very easily between what is just all make-believe, fake, people out for YouTube views, things of that nature. And I mean, be honest with you guys, I mean, I really don't have time to sit here all day on YouTube and watch people taking videos of the clouds and the sky day by day. So this video was brought to my attention. We're going to go ahead and take a look at a little bit of it. You guys can go check out the whole 33 or 38 minutes of this guy over in the UK flapping his gums and just talking a bunch of trash like I do. I'm a trash talker. I'm the first to admit that, so I won't begrudge the guy that. But to say that all of my evidence, everything that I have captured is, fake, non-existent, can't exist, can't happen. But the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you that have been with me for quite some time, you've seen the evidence that I have put out there. It is solid. It is hardcore evidence. The guy goes on to talk about Steve Olson, Dave Dobbs, Alex Lujan, but what he's doing is he's pushing this Sam Hoffman narrative. And like I said in the very beginning, this guy, Sam Hoffman, wanted to talk to me. I think it was back in 2017. I did have a telephone conversation with him. He has a YouTube group and a Facebook group or something like that called Montana Sky Watchers. And the guy really doesn't show any evidence of what is actually out there other than some cloudy videos, cloudy photographs, and some crayon drawings. A matter of fact, I'll bring up one of the crayon drawings right now. Bear with me. Check this out. And this is one of the Sam Hoffman crayon videos, or crayon pictures. And he's been at this for some time now. I don't know. He's supposed to be a genius, but he doesn't know how to make videos or I guess use a computer or anything like that. So in my conversation with him in 2017, we talked for about 45 minutes. And he went into his complete background, which I found very, very hard to believe. It was something out of the lines of, what's that UFO guy's name? The one that's famous that worked at Area 51. Oh, God. Somebody hit me up with that. What's that guy's name that worked at Area 51? Somebody shoot me that guy's name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But it's borderline... it's something like Borderline TV. I forget the guy's name. But anyways, Sam told me that he worked for NASA. He was like some kind of a genius operative, and he got away from them and their mind control and all this hocus pocus stuff that I really wasn't interested in. I'm interested in hardcore data. I want to see solid information. I personally will not accept somebody telling me that there are planets, large planets, in our clouds. Okay? If you believe that there are planets, large planetary bodies, like what you're seeing on your screen right now that he draws with crayons and magic markers, that's his storyboard right there. That's absolutely nuts. Okay? I don't care who says it. It's completely insane. He goes on to talk about Dave Dobbs, talk about Steve Olson, talk about all these other people, but he's really pushing this this Sam Hoffman agenda, this Sam Hoffman story of planets by the name of, you can see one of them up there in the top corner. I don't know if that's a URRI, Uri, Atu, Seru, Insatum, Nibiru, Nana, what's the hell? All of this is completely nonsense. So he claims that these large, massive planets are literally in our atmosphere, in our clouds, and if you videotape the clouds with, filters on your video camera or filters on your camera, that you'll be able to see them. Well, come on, folks. Enough with the fairy tales. I've mentioned to all of you before, I've discussed it with all of you before, that the whole entire story of Nibiru is just simple mythology. I personally think that story was started a very, very long time ago to discourage people from trying to get in depth and look at the real information. I don't know, I guess until I came along and really started to bust this thing wide open. You have other people out there that push their own Planet X agenda. David Meade, putting out dates of the destruction of the Earth. Nancy Leader, Marshall Masters. I mean, you name it. They're all a dime a dozen. But if you sit down and you really compare the amount of critical evidence that I've shown all of you on this YouTube channel and on my website, then you'll have no choice in thinking that, wow, what these other people are saying is just absolutely batshit crazy. Really, it is. So I challenge anybody. I mean, really, if you think that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, 10 planets in the sky, in the clouds, I mean, let me see it. I'm not talking, don't show me stupid photographs of lens flares and lens anomalies. And please do not show me any pictures from that woman's channel, The Final Days, because that is all 100% lens flares from those FAA webcams, and we've gone over all of that before. Look, folks, I'm not trying to be a dickhead here, but facts are facts. Period. Okay? Those FAA webcams, garbage. Absolute garbage. There's no pink planet hovering over that part of Canada and Alaska. Okay? It's just not possible. If we had a planetary body in the size of any one of these, what do you actually think would happen to Earth? What do you think would happen? Should we take gravitational force into play? Should we take massive influxes 24 hours a day on our magnetic field of this planet? Don't you think that these big, gigantic, massive planets would be eclipsing the sun because they're so close to Earth and they're within our clouds? See, there's a big difference if you take a planet the size of Jupiter and you send it out 92 million miles away from Earth, 1 million miles away from the sun. No, you're not going to see that big planet eclipse the sun because of the distance between the Earth and that object, 92 million miles. However, if you take Jupiter and you put Jupiter in our clouds, in our atmosphere, then yes, it would eclipse the sun completely. And every man, woman, and child on the face of this planet would be looking up for just a split second before they die, and they would say, holy hell, look at that planet in the clouds. So, this guy is out there now, trying to, make a name for himself by using my name. So I've had that done many, many times over the years, but I do still have people that constantly send me photographs, inbox me photographs, and they say, look at that planet in the sky. And they're copying photographs from that one woman's channel, The Final Days. They're copying other photographs from other bogus, Planet X Nibiru videos. I can't help that, and this guy goes on to talk about this whole Nibiru Planet X community. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no Planet X Nibiru community. I don't know who the hell started that, but I'm not part of any community. I work closely with Mark over at Wages World. When I first came in contact with Mark was probably over a year ago now. And I saw Mark falling into the clutches of Steve Olson and Dave Dobbs with their nonsense. And I saw that Mark had brains, intelligence, and a good head on his shoulders, and a person who doesn't lie. And Mark is a Christian man. He's not going to sit there and lie to anybody, regardless of what the factors are. So I contacted him myself. And I wanted to share my information with him. I wanted to share my knowledge with him. And I also wanted to start pointing him in the right direction. And that's that. And Mark's learned a lot over a very short period of time, because a lot of this is 95% of this is absolutely science-based. And there's a lot of studying that goes on. I mean, definitely on my part, folks. I mean, every single day I'm reading and I'm viewing information, some of it brand new, Some of it's been out there for a while. Some of it's been out there for decades. But you have to understand, at least a little bit, understand things about our sun and understand things about our own planet, our planet's magnetic field, planetary gravity, planetary dynamics, the dynamics of stars. You know, to go out there and just shoot from the hip and claim that there are big, gigantic, massive crayon planets in the clouds is just completely irresponsible. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. All you want to do is you want to make YouTube views and you want to be a YouTube superstar. Like I said before, folks, with what I do, there is no stardom in it. There is nothing like that in it. You will never be a superstar. You will never be on CNN or Fox News or the BBC. You will never be honored by the Astronomical Society of Astronomers. You will never be recognized by NASA, and you sure as hell won't get a visitation greeting at the White House. Okay? So we got all of that out of the way. Look, I'm sorry if I'm hurting some people's feelings, but you're all grown adults. I hope that whenever you are sitting down watching this video, you put your big boy and your big girl panties on, and let's get to it. So this guy, Sam Hoffman, draws crayon pictures of these planets with these, looks like Egyptian names on them, and he passes them off as planetary objects in our clouds, in the sky, right above your head. I think at some points, too, he claims that NASA has the ability to hide them. Gil Broussard has gone on that rant also. It may be somewhat possible. Smoke, mirrors, lasers, a bunch of conspiracies. But, you know, the conspiracies aren't for me, folks. They get you nowhere. We can all listen to all the conspiracies that are out there. But with conspiracy, you have to turn the conspiracy into evidence, solid evidence, hardcore evidence. So therefore, you need to turn the conspiracy theory into reality. And that's what my attempt at all of this is to take a conspiracy theory that a lot of people thought was a bunch of crap and prove it to the world. It's not that easy. Pretty damn hard. And if you guys watched my last live stream, the incredible capture that we got from the latest coronal mass ejection was just that. Just absolutely insane. But if you take a look at some of these other guys that are making these videos and these other people, ladies, men, whatever, they're not showing you any evidence of anything. I think Mr. Planet Hunter, Planet X Hunter over there in the UK, I think if he would maybe center his attention and his little expertise with his camera on detailing how the skies look with all of the chemtrailing and the aerosol disbursements and things of that nature, maybe more people would listen to him. But you're definitely not going to push a Sam Hoffman narrative down their throat, the Montana Sky Watchers, and by showing them drawings with crayons and magic markers. I'm sorry. You know, I mean, it's just, I couldn't accept that. I have to see hardcore evidence. I don't know about you guys. But we're going to take a little listen to, I don't even know the guy's name. So we'll just refer to him as Planet X Hunter. But I don't know. You know, I told the guy, I left him a few messages on his video. And I told him any day you want to go head to head and you want to do a live stream and you want to show me hardcore photographic evidence of planets in the sky over the UK or Montana or anywhere, then I'll become a believer. But until then, people like this guy here, you guys, I'll give you the link to his video. You could all go watch it. A lot of people want to use my name, or they want to try to call me out, or they want to use the name Planet X News or whatever to attract more people to their YouTube channel to watch their videos. I mean, this has been done to me, I don't know, over the years, countless times. I lost count. But the fact of the matter is, during this whole 38-minute rant, he's panning back and forth across the sky, and I watched the whole entire video, and in 38 minutes, I didn't see a damn planet in the clouds. Nothing. I see a lot of aerosol injection going on, and he has some kind of filter on this video camera, which makes things a little different than they really are, what you would be seeing with your naked eye. So I'm not criticizing him for using the filters, because it's a tool on a camera or a video camera. It's meant to be used. It's meant to bring out definition. That's what I use in my research. You've all seen it before. But to go and claim that, there's planets in the clouds is just moronic. I mean, can somebody please show me a pink planet, a red planet, a brown, blue, green, yellow, purple? I mean, show me the real deal, man. Don't show me some, hazy looking photograph that, has a partial lens flare in it from a webcam up in Alaska. Man, show me hardcore evidence, and I sure as hell don't want to see a crayon drawing from Sam Hoffman. I don't want to see a printed poster from the archives of Gil Broussard. I want to see evidence, man. I want to see physical, moving evidence in a video, or I want to see a high-definition photograph where I can examine it. Until then, all I could say, Mr. Planet X Hunter, keep my name out of your mouth. Any day you want to go head-to-head in a live stream, I'd be more than welcome to do so. I'll come on your channel. You can come on my channel. You can show your evidence. I can show my evidence, and we can go from there. But I'm not going to be part of your community or anybody else's community, because, folks, the guy talks about how, after criticizing me and many others, he actually sounds like me, But after criticizing everybody, he's like, oh, we should all join forces, and we should do this, and we should do that. Look, that's not going to work, Mr. Planet X Hunter. I've tried that before. Everybody in this world that wants to think they're going to become a superstar doing Planet X research turns out to be a backstabber, or, some kind of nefarious shit going on behind the scenes. It's been done to me numerous times. So you have a slim chance in hell in trying to organize any type of, quote, Planet X community, because, quote, there is none. You have some independent people out there that are curious about things that they've heard and seen over the years, and we have many, many newcomers coming into this, and I try to teach people. So if you think my information that I show people is fake, hey, at least I'm showing them critical evidence. You're showing them a cloudy day. Let me ask you something, Mr. Planet X Hunter. What in the hell do you do on a crystal clear day? What do you do if you have 10 straight days of not a cloud in the sky? Well, hell, that just whoops your narrative right in the ass, doesn't it? Because if there's no clouds in the sky, you can't see those kind of weird shapes, can you? Yeah. So get out there on a crystal clear day over there in the UK and bust out your fancy camera. And you could use whatever filters you want. I don't care if you use a welding lens. I don't care if you rip your eyeball out of your skull and stick it on the end of the lens. You're not going to see any planets in the clouds, and you're not going to see any planets in the atmosphere. And the BS that you're feeding people and your YouTube subscribers is completely foolish and irresponsible. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, folks, let's listen to a little bit of his garbage, and you guys could go watch his video. Maybe leave some comments, under his video. Let him know what the deal is. I'm sure I've had people from his neck of the woods over there trolling my YouTube videos. I'm used to. But let's listen and see what he says.
Mr. You got to get yourself good with God. Well, none of you, in my eyes, have got yourself spiritually aligned for shit. You're right to lecture everybody else and tell them what they should be doing when pushing people out because they don't say what you're trying to push your agenda. Now, Scott Young, I'm calling you out. Steve Olsen, I'm calling you out. Dave Dobbs, I'm calling you out, mate. And not in a bad way, but I'm calling you out because you're seeing your Dave Dobbs object is a tiny little object that goes around with a huge solar system that keeps going over our heads. Yeah? And by you focusing people's attention on a Dobbs object, and by you, Steve, pushing Sam out, and you, Scott, as well, and there's more of you as well, Becky Lewis, she was quick to jump on my fucking back a few years ago because I showed a picture that was similar to her picture that she took for a tree, but my picture wasn't good enough.
Well, folks, he's, again, like I said, he kind of sounds like me going on a rant. It is what it is. But, in the little bit of time that you watched his panning back and forth of his video, did you see any planets? Atu, Singtu, Guru, Baloney planet. Did you see any of that in the skies? No, you did not. What you see right here, that looks like some light chemtrailing disbursements that have already started to disperse. And again, I challenge the guy to go out on a crystal clear day and do a video. I mean, that solves everything, doesn't it? If there are 9 or 10 planets or whatever, crayon planets, let's just call them that. If there are crayon planets in the clouds in the Earth's atmosphere, well, hell, you ought to be able to see them on a crystal clear day. Furthermore, you should be able to see them at night even better. Yeah, because if the sun illuminates the moon and we could see the moon, then the sun sure as hell would be illuminating a big planet and we would see it clear as day. Don't you agree? Anyhow, anyway, this guy goes on and on and on for 38 minutes using my name over and over and over. So I left him some comments. Let's see if he jumps on the bandwagon and wants to do a live stream with me. I'll give him a voice. He was complaining that, I have this many subscribers and Olsen has this many subscribers. But in all reality, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. When it comes to this type of information, the social media giants are not going to allow any of your videos ever to go viral and get millions and millions and millions of views like a filthy rap song. Okay? If you want to make a viral video, give your kitty cat some ice cream and watch it get a brain freeze. You'll get 10 million views overnight. But anyways, enough of this here nonsense. There was some things that I wanted to show you guys real quick. One of them is I finally got the video data of this last capture. I think it's very, very cool. Matter of fact, here, I'll give you guys a link to this guy's nonsense video. And I'll put it in the comment section after this live stream's over. And you guys can all go check it out. You want to go subscribe to the guy's channel, hey, no problem. We'll keep that right there. And let's bring up this. Check this out. This is the latest coronal mass ejection, where we detected that object on the 21st of February. I only originally had 9 frames to work with, and then they add more frames like 12 to 16 hours later. Then about 24 hours later, they add more frames. So I was able to get a maximum of I think 253 frames or something like that. And it goes by very, very fast. And the way that they make these video clips, these are photographs. They're all put together in frames, and then they're played as a video, similar to the old-fashioned way of, like a movie projector. So I'm able to slow it down once I get more frames, and slow it down to about 50%. Sometimes I have to slow it down all the way to 90%, and I literally have to wait for frame after frame. One of the other techniques that I do is I take the original video and I convert it to an ultra high definition 4K video at 120 frames per second. Okay, so that gives me more ability to possibly capture something that is moving at a pretty high rate of speed. It's just techniques that I've learned over the years studying video and studying photography. And I've been studying photography. God, I used to love taking pictures when I was a kid. So I've always been somewhat of a camera buff, but you don't see me out there taking, nature pictures of birds and shit. Today with all of these digital cameras, that kind of plays some tricks on people when you're taking photographs of direct sunlight, such as the sun and the moon. You get ghosted images because the cell phone cameras and the digital cameras have a processor. The processor tries to translate what you're seeing. You're overloading the internal mechanisms with all of that additional light, and you're going to get a ghosted image. And usually that little round image that you see, it's not a blue planet, and it's certainly not a pink planet in the sky. It's the ghosted image of the aperture in the camera. And I've explained that to people 1,000 times, and some people get it, some people don't. Most people get insulted because they want to make a big discovery. And that's all fine and dandy, but when we're trying to track down the truth, that's a different story. We don't have time for make-believe. We need to get at the critical, real, hardcore evidence. And without knowing anything about the sun and the Earth's magnetic field and the sun's magnetic field, without knowing a lot of this science, which takes years and years to learn, and every day is a learning process. I mean, I feed my mind as much as I possibly can. And I feel that that's the only way to, increase your intelligence naturally, but to keep your mind sharp. And when I study these images, I go in depth. And I've developed my own techniques over the years to help me find what is hiding out there. It sure as hell isn't a Crayola crayon picture of a planet in the clouds. That much is faux show. But anyways, I wanted to share this video clip with you guys because I thought this was just fantastic to catch, a 1 second glimpse. Now, right here, I just did a freeze frame with the video so you can see it. If I let it play all by itself at the full speed, you would blink and you would miss it. So again, in order to make these type of captures, you have to know where to look, when to look, and you have to have a technique. You're not going to just do it by taking the data from the boys in blue over at NASA, because they don't give you the crystal clear, high definition video that they get. And I'm going to show you that right now. Over the course of the last 2 days, I've been working on a video and I wanted to present it in a complete live stream talking about what the boys in blue at NASA get to see on the SDO and what we get to see. So let's kick that off. And I think you're going to find it very, very interesting. Now, I'm going to pause this right now, real quick. Whenever we let me just back up 1 second. Let's collapse this for a second. Let's get out of here. Let's go directly to the SDO website. and we're going to do a real quick comparison right off the bat. We'll use the 171. Okay, here's the 171. 171 angstroms of extreme ultraviolet light right here. The object that you see passing in front of the SDO camera is the moon. We see that frequently. The SDO is in a figure 8 pattern in front of the Earth. Sometimes the Earth passes in front of the SDO and we get a weird view. That right there is the moon. Nothing to worry about. It's not Planet X Nibiru, and it sure as hell isn't one of Sam Hoffman's crayon planets. But I want you to take a look at the quality. Okay? I want you to take a look at the quality of what the public gets to see from the Solar Dynamics Observatory website. And over the last couple of years, they've actually downgraded that definition. They've made it worse. Instead of making it clearer and better, they've actually made it worse. I could only speculate why they've done that. But anyhow, anywho, and anyway, let's take a look at what they get to see. And they are able to zoom those cameras in, and they are able to get ultra 4K high definition video of the sun on the SDO spacecraft. And we don't get 24-hour access to that. We don't get any access to that daily. No how, no way. You know why? Because we would learn too much, we would see too much, and then more of that lid would be peeled back. But check this out. I tapped into some, 4K ultra high definition video from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And what you're looking at here is the highest resolution. And I put all of this together into one video to show all of you how deep they could zoom in and the quality that they get to see. Now, some of this is from latter years, during the time when the sun was in a solar maximum. And that's why I went back and chose those portions of data so you can see the activity going on during a solar maximum. Take a look at how crystal clear this is. This looks nothing like what we get to see from the public version of the Solar Dynamics Observatory, the SDO website. They also, this little thing that you see on your screen right now, they also have other mechanisms that we don't see. June 5th, 2012, that is the transit of Venus that you're looking at right there. This is a spectacular view back in 2012 at the southern pole of the sun, a spectacular plasma loop, just full blown. Right there on your screen, August 31st, look at that filament release. Look at that plasma, man. Let's just step that back just 1 second. I'm going to stop it here when it gets... Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Do we get to see any of that on the SDO public access website? Absolutely not. So that just does go to show you that there is a lot that we do not get to see. And I wish that, listen, man, I wish I worked in their office. I wish I had access to everything that they get to see 24 hours a day. I would probably answer all of my questions that I've ever had about this subject matter, but that's never going to happen. This plasma that you see, this massive plasma release coming off of the sun, I would probably say that that's over 100,000 miles long and stretching. And it reminds me of, lava spewing from a volcano. So it is actually a substance, not all gas. Plasma, this is like a liquid plasma. And it is my firm belief that when this Planet X object, when it's orbiting the sun every 28 days, it gets very close to the sun at 2 points in time. On its way back up past the ecliptic, on its way down, going past the ecliptic. At those points in time, it's at its closest proximity to the sun. Therefore, its magnetic field has enough power. It has enough juice to literally pull plasma directly from the top surface of the sun. We saw that in the last still photographs from February 21st. I'll show you that a little bit later on. But let's check this out. I'm going to let this play through. These are some absolutely spectacular views. 2013. Look at that plasma loop. That plasma loop has to be extended from the sun, again, at least 100,000 miles. This view right here, this is showing you how a CME, I'm just going to go and let that play back. That one view was of the orbit. That was showing you how a CME comes out from the sun, that ejection that you're seeing right now in yellow, and makes its way and crosses the orbital paths of possibly Mercury, Venus, and the Earth, and subsequently maybe Mars. It all depends on the timing and the position. October 23rd, 28th, 2003, spectacular X-flares. So these were times during a solar maximum, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because we started going into this solar minimum around 2015-16. So there's about 5-6 more years of this solar minimum that are left. And then we're going to be going into another solar maximum. The solar maximum may start a little early, may start a little late. It's hard to tell. But look, right here, in this double view right here, pay attention to the right side, left side of your screen. You're looking at where it says low. That's going to be the solar minimum, when the sun's output is at its lowest. Look at the solar maximum to the right. That's when the sun's output is at the highest. And to be honest with you, those are the most dangerous times right there, because the amount of CMEs that will come our way will be plentiful. You could see very easily all of these little white areas that you see speckled across the just above the equator of the sun, just below the equator of the sun. Those are all active regions, and we're going to get a good close look at what those active regions look like. Some of them could be sunspots also. But again, take a look at the quality. The ultra high definition 4K quality going all the way back to the early 2000s. What you're seeing right here is Mercury transiting the sun, and Mercury is 39 million miles away from the sun. Okay, so that's a sunspot right there. That's a sunspot with all of that magnetic action, let's just call it, going on. That was a powerful X 9.3 flare. This is 2018. Now, in 2018, we are in that solar minimum. The sun's output is very, very low. I can only anticipate and wonder what in the hell is going to go on when the sun starts waking up out of this solar minimum and we get back to a 10-year span, 11-year span of a solar maximum, when the sun's output and the activity on the sun is just absolutely incredible. It's constant. And you're going to see what some of that activity looks like. So I'll let this video keep playing. This was 2019. Again, just showing you some high definition views of what the Solar Dynamics Observatory SDO looks like. That is little Mercury zipping by the sun. Once again, we won't see another Mercury transit for quite a long time. This is all ultra high definition. Look at that view. I mean, you know, whenever I do use the SDO and I show you guys the large coronal holes, we don't get to see ultra high definition views like that, do we? Certainly not. And we sure as hell can't pan the camera on the SDO to the north, south pole or the eastern or western limbs of the sun. And as much as we try to use their video feed to do that, it just gets blurry. I cannot take the data that they produce, and I can't turn that into what you're looking at here on your screen. It's impossible. Can't do it. But this just goes to show you, now that is a beautiful raining down plasma loop with some coronal prominence going on in there. But that is spectacular. And these are the things that go on that star in the center of our solar system that we call the sun. It's amazing. And I've been wanting to share some of this information with you guys, so you yourself maybe start to understand when I use terms, you understand them. Some people tell me all the time, oh, you repeat yourself in your videos constantly. And my reply to that is, well, take into consideration that I have new subscribers, new followers that come to this YouTube channel every single day, every single week, every single month. And I'm here to educate people, not entertain them. Okay? I'm not an entertainer. So, yeah, I do have to repeat myself. And I do have people jumping into my live streams halfway through. And yeah, sometimes I have to repeat myself. It is what it is, man. But, well, just think about it. You know, whenever you were a little kid, how did you learn? Your parents repeating yourself or repeating themselves, telling you not to do something. How many times did I tell you not to play in traffic, Tommy boy? How many times did I tell you? There you go. So, again, getting back to this, you are going to see some of the most incredible ultra high definition views of the sun. Let me point something out to you guys. You see these black areas right here? Those are very, very large filaments. And you hear me referring to them from time to time. Every now and then we do see a filament release from the sun on the SDO. But it's really not that spectacular because we don't get to see it in ultra high definition like they do. On these views here, you're going to see that those filament ropes are literally raised up off the surface, the outer surface of the sun. They remind me of large scars that, you know, you cut yourself and years later you got that big keloid scar on you that looks horrible. That's what these remind me of. And these filaments, well, you know, they could be dangerous to Earth if one of them fired off and was large enough and the Earth was in the right place at the wrong time. You know, it could destroy our electrical infrastructure or at least do damage to it. But it's incredible to see these views. And again, these views were from a time a few years ago during solar maximum. And, you know, we have about five and a half more years to go through this solar minimum. And then the sun's going to start gradually waking up. It's at that point in time when the sun starts to wake up and move into this solar maximum where we are going to see multiple sunspots across the disk, and we are going to see massive coronal mass ejections. And it's going to be one hell of a sight for a decade. And during that decade, again, who knows? You know, it's a lot of it's about timing, you know, the Earth being in the wrong place at the wrong time. during one of these events on the sun, and then you throw in the other factor of this Planet X object creating large coronal mass ejections at least twice a month. You know, towards the beginning of every month and towards the end of every month. One thing I could say that we may be a little safe in that avenue is those coronal mass ejections will not be Earth facing. That's one good thing. However, large coronal mass ejections, whether they're on the east or west limb of the sun, they can still affect the Earth, but not as a kill shot, you know, not as a direct impact. And these views here are just, again, absolutely spectacular. After I spent 2 days putting this video information together, I kicked back and I watched all of this on my large flat screen TV in my living room. And it absolutely just mesmerized me. No sound, nothing. Turned the lights out, turned it on, and watched it. And it was just truly amazing to see this in that clarity. And then after I watched it, I thought to myself, damn, you know, I wish I had this access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I wish I had better access to some of the other tools that are out there. But like I said, folks, they're slowly but surely taking all of it away. And it's sad. I do find the research very, very interesting. I've always been a science buff, you know, Earth and space science. I do truly believe that, you know, the Earth is going to be, let's just put it this way, stressed even more as the years go by. You know, we've all lived for centuries without this other planetary stellar source orbiting our sun and another magnetic field which has to be very strong, influencing the magnetic field of the Earth. That factor is one that is very, very, very critical. We're not going to see a Planet X crash into the Earth. We're never going to see anything like that. But the influences of another stellar object with a very strong, outreaching magnetic field can cause very serious issues here on Earth. And we are already seeing these issues. Just over the last 2 years, well, I'll make it 3. Over the last 3 years, we have seen the increase in the earthquake activity and magnitude, the increase in the volcanic activity, absolutely insane. Earth fissures, huge, massive cracks opening up all over the world for no reason. We've seen the wild and freaking crazy weather worldwide, which include massive amounts of lightning, wind, vortexes, hurricanes, cyclones, tornadoes, you name it. Must I go on? And then, over the last 2 years, we've seen this very, very steady increase in global flooding. That is truly a huge issue. We've also seen the heating up of our North and South Pole. Certain regions in the Arctic, the North Pole, which is very critical, and anomalies in Antarctica. Now, just recently, right on the tip leading up towards the lower tip of South America, 65-degree recorded temperature. They got some serious issues, and we've also seen this pretty big increase in large ice shelves busting off in the Antarctic and just floating away. Some of them the size of states, major cities. I think the one last year that broke off was the size of the state of Delaware. One that just recently broke off was the size of, I think it was Long Island. So, gradually these things are going to get worse. One of my biggest fears is, again, the unknown whenever the sun starts to wake up from the solar minimum and the activity on the sun naturally increases. At that point in time, with the influence of another magnetic field, we may see some really, really crazy times. That's my educated guess. It's going to be interesting. There's no doubt about it. Now, as the sun's magnetic field starts to wake up and it strengthens during a solar maximum, so does the Earth's magnetic field. So both the sun and the Earth's magnetic field will strengthen. But the big $1 million question is, will this stellar planet X object's magnetic field increase and get stronger? Because if that does happen, then your guess is as good as mine, because that means that even though the Earth's magnetic field gets stronger, will it be able to handle more of the magnetic field influence that may increase from this Planet X object? Will we see even greater increases in everything that I just mentioned? The volcanoes, the earthquakes, the weather, blah, blah, blah. Again, all questions that need answers. The only way we get those answers is if we live through it. That's it. We have to live through it. You cannot predict these things. None of us have a crystal ball. And personally, I don't think the outcome is very good. I think it will be a very violent and turbulent time. And it's not going to be I would say for some people on this planet, it's not going to be a happy time or even a safe time, depending on where you live. Oh, my allergies are killing me. Here, I'm going to stop this here real quick. You see that big, gigantic filament right there? That's what I was pointing out to you earlier. You could see how raised up it is off of the sun, like a big scar. And then those filament releases, you'll see them just snap out like a whip. And some of that does break off, and that plasma does make it out into space, and it's lost forever. It's like the sun feeds our solar system, feeds the galaxy, feeds the universe, just like every other star. But again, I wish we were able to have access to views like this all the time. And I actually had to slow this down. And when I made this video, I made this in ultra high definition 4K 120 frames per second in order to maintain all of the detail that you're seeing here. And again, all of these views are from a few years ago when the sun was still in solar maximum. That's why you see all of those bright lit up, as we refer to them, active regions, ARs. You see all the black, dark, striped areas. Those are huge filaments. Those filaments are massive, hundreds of thousands of miles long. You know, it's when I sat and I watched this video, like I said, I was mesmerized by what I was seeing. And it kind of reminded me of the sun is like a living, breathing organism, you know. It is constantly, second by second, ever changing. And it is, you know, it is a magnificent creature. And without it, we couldn't live. Life would not exist. And as I've mentioned, you know, before, that, you know, the sun is our biggest enemy. But in the next breath, I said, the sun giveth life, and the sun taketh life away. Yeah. Kind of a catch-22, you know. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Here's some more views of very, very large filaments, plasma releases from the sun. I pulled this down into a slow motion so you guys can see it. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. 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 Do-do-do-do-do. It's pretty interesting, isn't it, guys? I mean, that's just, I think it's amazing. I'm just reading through some of the comments here. Do-do-do. Hey, look, you know, folks, everybody's entitled to their own opinions on things. But, you know, when you start to say ridiculous things that just don't make any sense. I'm going to push this video forward just a little bit. Yeah, we'll see some X flares, and we'll probably be seeing a hell of a lot more of those big X flares in the next couple of years. They'll start popping up. You see them flashing on your screen right now. Sort of forms a little X pattern whenever that big massive photon burst starts coming our way. We saw some record breakers back in 2016 and 17. But again, it's kind of sad that we don't get to see this real good high definition stuff, and use it for our own research on a daily basis. I mean, I really wish I had access to all of this. I'd be like a kid in a freaking candy store, man. And we're going to see a lot more action, folks. We're going to see a lot more action here on this planet. Things are going to change. I don't want to use the word drastically, but you're going to notice it. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And, this upcoming summer, for all of you that are sun worshipers and you like to lay out in the sun, I personally would instruct you and give you the good advice not to do so. And protect your children. Skin cancer rates are going to start to elevate. Radiation levels are already elevating. These are old coronal mass ejections. This one dates all the way back to 2000. You're seeing other planets, Venus, Mercury, all orbiting through the coronagraph, the C3 from LASCO, the SOHO spacecraft. And these coronal mass ejections that you see right here, these are during a solar maximum. Those were all directed straight towards Earth. But I'm not sure if we had the influence of this Planet X object. The only detailed data that I have of its existence starts in 2007, at its closest point to our sun. Now, these are coronal mass ejections that were off to the east and western limb of the sun. And when you see that big burst of scattering interference, those are all of the heavily charged particles blasting out of the sun and hitting the detectors on the spacecraft. And that's why we have that interference. Now, as of lately, on the stereo website, it seems that damn interference is constant. And I'm starting to think that that is man-made. I think they do that to obscure our view of things. There is a massive plasma release that you see there on your screen. That is probably one of the biggest ones that I've ever seen in my life. That thing is huge. Now, this is pretty good. This is taking a look at the sun's cycles from the SOHO spacecraft. Goes back to a solar minimum in 96, right up here, and then you can gradually see how the sun starts to waken up. So we'll just say the sun going dark here in 96, 97, 98. It's gaining some life. It's coming out of its solar minimum. And 99, 2000, and boom, 2001, full-blown solar maximum. And then it just goes through its 11-year cycle over and over and over again. And look up here, way up here in 2006. Look how black the sun was. Almost like it was lifeless. Pretty incredible. Like I said, our sun is a spectacular star. It gives us life here on this planet, but it also has the ability to take life away in many different forms, and we would be completely lost without it. But like I said, folks, I wanted to share some of this information with you guys just as an educational source, so you can see and learn about some of the dynamics of the sun, why we pay so much attention to it. These were old clips as comets head towards the sun, and the sun's gravity pulls them in and destroys them. There's been some talk over the last couple of days about this comet Atlas that's going to be coming in. We may be able to catch a glimpse of it as it comes in. It all depends on positioning and timing. It may pick up speed as it starts getting closer to the sun, and it may not make it. As you can see here, the sun destroying these other comets that are cruising by. So that will be something to watch, something to look forward to in the skies if we are able to see it. That will be around, I think, May 31st of this year, right before the beginning of summer. And all that scattering, that interference that you see, those are disbursements that you see that flash on the sun. The sun is ejecting material. Those heavily charged particles, electrons, protons, photons, man, they're zipping millions of miles an hour, and all of that interference, bingo, it hits the detectors and it causes that scattering and static look on the coronagraphs. This was a pretty large coronal mass ejection, I think. Oh, this was another comet going by. And you can see the reaction of a comet going by that creates the coronal mass ejection. The sun literally reacts. So now you can understand how the sun reacts when this Planet X object cruises by on the east and west limb of the sun twice a month. So if a very high-speed, fast-moving, large comet can cause the sun to react with a coronal mass ejection, then I'm sure now you can understand how this Planet X object, as it gets close to the sun twice a month, entering and exiting in its 28-day orbit, you can understand how those coronal mass ejections occur and why we see them on the west and eastern limbs of the sun. It is because of the real sharp, eccentric, and elliptical orbit. This object does not pass in front of the sun, like right across the front face of the sun. It's because of its weird orbit. And Mercury has a very, very similar orbit. Very similar. Mercury doesn't cross the face of the sun all of the time for us to see it. It happens in cycles. But its orbit is different than this Planet X object. The Planet X object's orbit is very acute, very, very sharp. And I wish the hell it would cross in front of the sun. Oh, man, we'd be able to catch it every single month. Boom! Right in front of the sun. We would probably even possibly see momentary weird eclipses. Like all of a sudden it would look like it was twilight outside for maybe a minute or two, But that doesn't happen. So people ask me about that all the time. Oh, why can't I see it go past the sun? It's because of the angle that we're in, the Earth, and the angle of these damn cameras. We just can't see it like that. Now, if we had access once again to Stereo B, the Stereo B spacecraft that's been out of commission since 2014, as they say, then we would have another view. See, right now we have a view from the Stereo A camera on the eastern limb of the sun, but we don't have access to Stereo B on the western limb of the sun. I think they still have access to it. They just took it out of play. Why? Because we would have a constant view from the left, the right, and straight on. Those are just my thoughts. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Their excuse is that the Stereo B spacecraft went into a calibration roll, lost control, they lost communication, and it's just floating around out there. I'm not buying that because they built two identical spacecrafts. Stereo A, Stereo B, launched the damn things at the same time. One went this way, one went that way. Now, all of a sudden, after all those years in space, one decides not to work anymore. I don't know. I don't buy it. You know. And the most critical data that we've ever seen of this damn object orbiting in like real time in video came from Stereo B in February of 2007. And matter of fact, I'll show it to you guys real quick. Can't freaking breathe. Yeah, for all of you that may not have seen it before, this is the Stereo B spacecraft that I was just talking about, the Core 2. It has since been taken out of commission or broke. Who knows? This was recorded back in February 25th, 26th, 27th in 2007. This shows you the very acute angles that I was talking about. As you can see, this object does not cross through the front face of the sun. If it did, then yeah, we might be able to see it, but the distance with this object being that close to the sun and us, the Earth, being 93 million miles away from the sun, it would be highly unlikely. If the object was up close to the Earth, like in Sam Hoffman's crayon videos, then we'd have a constant eclipse. Constant. But that doesn't happen because the information that guy's putting out is a fairy tale. There's no credible evidence whatsoever. And as far as I'm concerned, in my opening in this live stream, responding to Mr. Planet X Hunter's accusations and his call out, he's not showing any credible evidence whatsoever other than his skies in the UK are full of aerosol injections, chemtrails. That's it. Pretty cool looking video, nice filters, but as far as showing planetary evidence, sorry, bud, you are out of your mind. And you're lying to your people, and you are also brainwashed with the Montana Skywatcher cult. But anyways, that's that video. I want to show you guys real quick what I was talking about, the plasma attaching to this object. The last photo capture that we had on the 21st. I noticed this after my live stream the next day. Here was our photo capture, and this is inverted. And what I noticed, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. You see on the front face, right here, it looks like kind of a white substance on the very end of this object, this big Planet X object. You see that surface area there? It looks like this object went through something. And it did go through something. It went through the plasma ejections that came with this coronal mass ejection. Those plasma ejections are not just some gases, they're like liquid lava. So if you were standing behind, now listen to me very carefully, folks. Get your thinking caps on. Get your mind visualizing what I'm about to tell you. This will help you understand what I'm saying. If you were standing behind a huge waterfall and you had a baseball or a basketball, a sphere, and you were standing behind the waterfall as it was cascading in front of you, and you took the ball and you threw it straight towards the waterfall, and as the ball came through and hit the water, what would happen? It would create what you're looking at on your screen right now. That water would wrap around that sphere temporarily. Now, let's exchange the water with a thicker substance. Liquid what? Syrup. We'll use syrup because it's a little thicker. So if that waterfall was something of a thicker nature, a thicker substance, and you threw that ball directly from behind and you threw it directly at that waterfall, and as the sphere went through that waterfall, more of that sticky plasma substance would stick to the front face as it entered and passed through. So I think that's what we're actually seeing in this photograph. You could see the pointed edge right there. And in this photo right here, I outlined what I saw. Pretty cool. So here is a top and bottom view. We could see it here. I mean, you could literally see how it just like kind of fits around it like a glove. And then we panned down and I outlined it the best that I could. I am presuming that, this plasma does stick to the surface area of this object. And at this point, it's going to be heading downward, away from the sun, below the ecliptic. And as it moves further away from the sun, what happens? It gets cooler. So what happens to lava when it spews from a volcano and it hits the atmosphere, it hits the air, it moves further away from its volcanic source, which is the volcano? What happens to the lava? It cools and it solidifies. So there is a very big chance that each time this happens and this object passes through one of these coronal mass ejections, when it occurs, it is very possible that this object is collecting mass, which is not a good damn thing. It's actually a bad thing. For this object to collect mass would actually make it stronger. If you want to know more about the mass of planets and the mass of stars, that's a whole nother live stream, or you can just, Google it, maybe read some papers and some articles on it. It's very, very scientific, very, very mathematical. It may confuse you, but it's kind of like rolling a snowball in the snow. If the snow's sticky and wet, and you roll that initial snowball through the snow, what happens? It gets bigger. More material is added to it. More mass is added to the snowball. So I hope I'm making myself kind of clear here. But I thought that was a very, very unique observation, is to see plasma sticking to that front face. Now, as it travels below the sun's ecliptic, naturally, it gets colder, much, much colder. The minute you move away from the sun, the temperatures start to change drastically, and I mean drastically. We're not talking about 1,000,000 degrees anymore. We're talking about drastic declinations of temperature as that object falls below the sun's ecliptic. Now, when it comes back up, it creates another coronal mass ejection. It gets very, very close to the sun for possibly only maybe a day or two. And there's a very high possibility that some of that may burn off. I'm not sure. These are some new theories that I'm going back and forth with, and I'm going based on what actually happens in planet formation. How do planets form? They just don't poof, and there's a planet. There's many theories about planet formation. You guys should maybe, look up, Google, or even check out on YouTube how planets are formed. You may find yourself a good science documentary to help explain to you visually how that happens. But it's kind of like an accumulation of junk in space, early formation of planets, and it's pretty neat. But I just happened to catch a documentary on the Science Channel about a week ago talking about the formation of planets, the formation of Earth, how did it come about, and blah, blah, blah. And that kind of got my mind ticking. And then when these photographs were captured on the 21st, and I noticed this outcrop formation, and then, when I really, really looked at it and I outlined it perfectly, I said to myself, holy hell, it looks like, plasma disbursements from those CMEs is actually sticking. And the mass of this object may be getting greater. And if that's the case, folks, that's bad news. That's bad news. We definitely don't want to see that damn thing getting bigger as far as its mass. But who knows? Also, I wanted to share this quick graph with you guys. I placed this photograph into the KP index, and there was a huge spike. Well, not huge, but a large enough spike that brought it all the way up to a KP index of 4 on the exact same day that we caught a photo of this on the 21st. So as I captioned right up here, on the same day as my discovery, there was a spike in the K index. More evidence and more proof how this object is affecting the Earth. Now, we see this all the time. We see it in specific times. And this was one of those specific times. Is it a coincidence? You may think so, but I don't. Because again, if you're tracking this and you're using the science that we have available, and you're paying attention to just about all of the avenues, then you will start to see that these things aren't just coincidences. They're leading factors into how this object is affecting the Earth and how it is going to affect the Earth in the very near future. And as sure as hell's not going to be about Crayola planets in the freaking clouds. I wouldn't worry about that. That fairy tale. That's for damn sure. But yeah, folks, that's that. And I would like to touch base on the subject matter that really has people's attention. And that's that bug. That's what we're going to refer to it as. But that's that bug that's making its way around the world right now, that super bug. And it seems that each and every day it's becoming more and more dangerous. And we really have to start paying very, very close attention to that bug and the information that is coming out. I believe it's starting to get to a point where it is becoming critical. And I can't talk too much about it here on my channel. They flag my videos. They're not doing it to many others. The mainstream, lamestream media, they don't do it to them, but they'll do it to me. But anywho, I wanted to show you guys a few quick things here real quick. I'm going to jump over to the Planet X News website real quick. And I've been putting up the information that I really can't do videos on because the boob tube doesn't like me. You'll find credible information related to that bug right here on Planet X News and also on my USA Headline News website. This was a very good video and article by this doctor. He discusses, as you could read right there, you could read it. So you guys can check it out. I'm going to post some of these links. The link for the Planet X News website is in the description box under all of my videos. You guys should bookmark it, on your cell phones or your home computers, your PCs, whatever. A lot of you have been asking me about the Planet X News research links. I created a brand new tab. I took them away from the sidebar over here, and I put a direct link and created a whole new page for it. You click on that link, and all of the research links are right here. So at any given time, you could go over here. You could check out the SDO. You got the earthquake data from the bozos over at the USGS. You have the earthquake map that I use. You have Stereo Core 2 for those coronagraphs. You have the Cactus coronagraph. You have the Soho and Lascaux C2, C3 coronagraphs. You have it all right there. The ISWA website, where you can gather all of the information for the magnetopause, magnetosphere, and solar wind models. You have the solar wind prediction model. They're all right here. You just click right on them. And they're all right there. You could, you want to check out Planet X News on Facebook, links right there. YouTube, Twitter, Planet X News store for shirts and apparel, crap. If you want to start wearing some chemtrail shirts or something like that, it's all available. You could join our private network, which for $5 a month, I'd advise all of you to do so as soon as you can, because as the censorship gets worse, So does the flow of information. So it is what it is. Planet X books, the books that Dr. Albers and I have collaborated on, they're all right there. So planetxnews.org, it's all there. You can check it all out. Excuse me. All of the latest videos, they're all right there. Everything's right there. It's your one-stop shop, Pop. That's all I got to say. And also for the USA Headline News, my news website, excuse me. Great articles in here every minute of every day. I do spend quite a bit of time researching and writing articles. And the majority of it now, folks, it's a lot of it's based on politics, as you know. But as you can see right over here on the side, you click on Quick View News. You could rattle right through these. Just read the headline. See that headline? Yeah. You might want to quickly read that article. This article right here may sound like a conspiracy theory, but if you were paying attention to the media today at about 10 o'clock in the morning, whoa, titles close to what you're reading on your screen right now, that title, pretty damn close to it, hit every major news network in the freaking world. Yeah. So it's kind of getting to the point where that title that you see right there isn't a conspiracy theory at all. I'd advise you to check that article out. It's a sad story here, too. This just happened the other day. Whistleblower by the name of Philip Haney. He worked in the Obama administration in the Department of Homeland Security, and he blew the whistle on what was happening in the Obama administration. He blew the whistle on him. And the story kind of just went away. Well, just a couple of days ago, they found the man on the side of the road shot to death. Gunshot wound to the chest. First, they claimed he committed suicide. But then they walked back their claims. And, this is a really hot story right here. Because he blew the whistle and he knew that this was going to happen to him. He was actually set to be married, I think, next week or sometime here in the very near future. He's set to be married. 66 years old, very nice man, very, very smart. True patriot to this country. And, yeah. But I'd start to follow this story here, folks, if you're interested in seeing what's happening in this country. Follow this story. But I do articles every single day. This was the original article about Philip Haney, the day that he was found. And there's our president and Shifty Shift. More articles about the bug that I was talking about. This is a very, very important article right here. You could read the headline for yourself. Same thing. And these were just a couple of days ago. I try to keep up on the information as fast as it's coming out. And I'll be truthful with all of you. I do get firsthand information from some very reliable sources that I've had for quite quite a many years. But they're only located on the deep web and the dark web. I would not recommend any of you playing around on the dark web or the deep web if you don't have some type of experience doing so and you don't have credible contacts in there. But the majority of the time, I'm able to gather information and have it on my website in the form of a full article before the mainstream media gets it on the TV or on their websites. And I think that's one of the main reasons why my website, my news website, is kind of shadow banned on Google and on Facebook. But, it is what it is. You could check out today's headlines. I have a RSS feed that comes directly in from Fox News. Some people don't like Fox, but it's the only news network that I actually trust. And this news feed right here is ever changing. Here's an article that just came up about the Space Force and blah blah blah. But this is this breaking news headline page. This all is an RSS feed, so it's constantly changing. If you see something you're interested in, click on it. Top videos, news videos of the day. Again, this is pretty much all political based, but these videos are all embedded. You could watch them here on the website. This one right here was very interested, coming from the Associated Press about the stock market. Yeah. And another sad little story here about a little 6-year-old girl being arrested and zip-tie handcuffed and taken away by the police from her school. Kind of weird for cops to be doing that nowadays. If you can't handle a 6-year-old, then you shouldn't be a cop. But yeah, folks, everything's right here. The USA Headline News has a YouTube channel. You can check it out here. It has a Facebook page with 150,000 followers. You can catch me on Twitter. All the links, everything you need is right there. All of these links in the description box under my videos. So, if you're interested in following, headlines, major headlines, major news stories, hit me up, USA Headline News. You have the planetxnews.org website for that other information and articles and research links. Join the Planet X News group. The link's in the description box. Follow the Planet X News Facebook page. And get your settings correct. If you guys don't have your settings correct on these Facebook pages, let me see something here. Where's that one little... Guys, my nose stuffed up. If you don't have these settings fixed correctly on your Facebook page, then you're not going to get notifications if you're following any Facebook page whatsoever. So you click on Friends, that drop-down menu comes. Get notifications. Now, you could label a personal friend close friend. And then you want to click on Follow. And you want to get the notifications. You want to click on See All Posts in that drop-down menu. If you do not do that, you will only maybe see 1 in 25 posts. 1 in 25. Those aren't good odds. Those aren't good numbers. You want to see all. And that's for Facebook. If you do not like me, right there, baby. If you can't stand me, click right there where it says unfriend. I hope some of you have a sense of humor. Anyways, do any of you have any questions you want to hit me up with in the live chat? Hey, sorry, folks, I don't really follow the live chat too much because I'm always in depth in my live stream presentation. I apologize for that. Some people get pissed off that I don't see their comments, in the live chat. It's kind of hard to concentrate on what I'm doing and what I'm showing you and read the live chat at the same time. See, I see people that already in the chat, like this guy, Ricky E. Shea. I mean, he says here, Nibiru is a little planet that moves around a huge brown red dwarf star. Well, Rick E. Shea, if you believe in that fairy tale, then you probably believe in Tinkerbell and the Jolly Green Giant, because the story of Nibiru is pretty much just myth. It's just a story. That's all it is. No credible evidence. And after sitting through one of my live streams for an hour and a half, or 2 hours, you don't hear me using the word Nibiru. Unless I'm, saying what I just said now. It's all just a myth. There's no credible evidence whatsoever. I don't even take the information from Zachariah Sitchin to be anything close to evidence other than just a story, a fairy tale. Lewis Rowland. She was asking me, I was just wondering if you and the doctor are still together. Yeah, Lewis. She is in the other room in her office, and she is writing her articles, doing her thing, and she's still alive. Go watch her videos. But there's some things that Dr. Albers and I don't agree on. But there's a big difference in our minds. She has the mind of a scientist. I have the mind of a true go-getter, investigator. I want to overturn every freaking rock there is looking for the truth. So, yeah, we do have some differences in opinion. I have to go after hardcore observational evidence, and that is that. But anyways, folks, there is a big debate. The Democratic debate is on CBS News coming up here shortly. I want to get prepared because that is the other part of my job. I've now become a very well-skilled political analyst. But I have to get prepared to watch that and take some notes. But anyways, folks, take it for what it is. Believe whatever you want to believe. But with me, seeing is believing. And I've been at this for a long, long time. I've taken thousands of pictures of the sky. I've never, ever seen a Crayola crayon planet named Ottu in the clouds. That is a fairy tale. You stick with Planet X News, and I will never steer you wrong. I will show you the best first-hand premium data and evidence there is. Right here on Planet X News. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care. Be safe. There's some nasty weather moving across all around the world. So no matter where you're at on this little tiny blue planet that we live on, watch your weather and be safe. Take care, folks.